Hi, Sandra here from Creating Spain, and this morning I'm going to show you a little bit of stuff with fonts. Fun things you can do with fonts, and it's nothing too difficult, which is even better. I'm going to go to my text style and I'm going to select, if I can find, whoa, made that go a bit fast, didn't I? If I can just click down here. I prefer them to go a little slowly so I can find something that looks interesting. Okay, have this one here. And I'm going to just type random letters. No, don't fancy that one. I want something this one would be quite good. And okay, that'll do. Now this blue line is a spell check line. Obviously these letters are typed in at random and they don't mean anything. So the spell checker is thinking, you haven't spelled something right. Ignore it. Now what you need to do is select it and right click and ungroup. Because I don't want all of these, I only want some of them. So one of those, oh maybe I'll have three. Now I'm going to select these and just get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to have this one, and this one. Okay, roughly evenly spaced. And this is the centre of rotation. If you don't see it, then it could well be that you haven't got it toggled on. If you press a letter O, then you should toggle it back on or off, whichever the case may be. And pull the centre of rotation down a little bit. Go to the replicate window and rotate 3 copies. No, too many copies. Go back, rotate 2 copies. Ah, look at that, isn't that nice? Now, one of the things that you can do is then group these and you can duplicate them again. And you can actually move them around, duplicating them, and make a whole page of things. If you make them smaller, for example, you can have some small ones and you can have some larger ones. And you can effectively cover the entire page and make a pattern paper. So that's one use of these things. Now I'm just going to get rid of this, and this one I'm going to ungroup because I don't want all of these. I just want this one here. I'll just move these over. Right, okay. This one here, centre of rotation, again, in the middle, pull it down. And what I'm going to do is rotate 3 copies. And each of these copies can be manoeuvred like so. Whoops. If you grab the handles like this. And this one here. Ta-da. Okay. Now what you can do, you can select all of those, you can group them, and you can rotate 1 copy. But you need to move your centre of rotation first. Now you can make it bigger or smaller depending on where you put the centre of rotation. So 1 copy, ta-da! Click it again, rotate 1 copy. And you notice it looks like it hasn't done it, but in actual fact it's put another copy over the one that you had before. So you can move it around and you can rotate another copy. And ta-da! Doesn't that look pretty? And it saves you having to do each individual one. So remember, you can rotate more than 1 item. And because these are fonts, you don't even have to draw them. Even better. Okay, you can, if you so wish, then get a circle. And, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Undo. Grab this circle. I think it probably needs to be a bit smaller. And a bit smaller still. I think is round about centered. I could, of course, select the entire thing here, go to my alignment tool, which is this one, and put center. And that will move all these things to the center in different ways, which I don't want it to do, because they're not actually grouped. If I just click on the circle, move it out of the way. If I click on those and group them, and now put this in here, just put it any old where, and then put it to center, it will center it in my design. So I can now do this, and I can now use the modify tools, and I can go to modifying, see what effects I get. If I weld it, what happens? Well, that's quite fun. That could be a really nice little border, couldn't it? You could, for example, after doing that, put in an internal offset. Oh, lovely, that's great. Whoops, where did that go? That moved fast. Okay, so you can move your offset in or out. So could do that, but I'll get rid of my offset. If I select it all and go to my modify, what other options have we got? Intersect. I don't think that's going to be a very good one. Let's see what happens. Oops, everything disappears. Definitely not a good idea. If I go to subtract, now that could be handy. There's a couple of little bits that would need tidying up. That could be handy if you wanted to do a doily. And if I go to crop, again, yeah, interesting effect. Not what I particularly want, but interesting. What happens if I go to subtract all? Probably find the program freezes. Okay, yeah, the program freezes a bit. Yeah, so different things you can do with this. But personally, I quite like the world option. I think that was quite a nice one. And so it could be quite a useful thing to have. And of course, if you find a pattern like this, even accidentally, that you like, just save it. Put it in a miscellaneous file of miscellaneous shapes, and you never know when it will come in handy. But again, that's something you can do with your fonts. You have other ways of using fonts, and one of the things that you can do is, whoops, I'm a bit too enthusiastic with my zoom in and out tool here. Okay, let's get rid of all this lot off the way and go to my fonts again. I'm going to choose a big chunky font, and doesn't matter what I'm typing, it really doesn't matter. And I'm going to make that quite big, and I'm going to, now use a oval, I think. I'm going to take my oval and put it over my letters. Da, 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 da. There we go. Bit more out that way. Bit more out that way. Bit more that way. Okay, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go to the modify again, and if I go to crop, you'll see that it kind of fits the letters into the shape. Now, I didn't type a word, so it doesn't make any sense anyway, and some of the letters work better than others. Having said that, what you can do with your various letters is actually edit the nodes individually, so you can do whatever you like with these to make them fit. If for some reason you've got letters that don't fit the shape that you want to, well, you can do that. So we take this back, we pretend that we've got exactly the shape we want in our letters. And if I go to a fill, I can put a fill on those. And then if I go to this one, I can put a different fill. Whoops. Different fill to this one. But if I do that, you notice it covers everything up. And the reason is that's in front of it. So send it to the back. And then you can line it up and you can have your logo, whatever, in whatever shape you want. Now you can keep it so that your letters are all grouped, or you can have the letters individually maneuverable. The choice is yours. Obviously with individual letters you've got more control over them. Take that away. So if I go to that I love, alright, so do this, make it a lot bigger, and do a circle, well, roundy thing anyway. I'm not fussed about it being circular particularly. And we put it over like so. Again, I'm going to duplicate this one because it's always handy to have a spare in the background. And with this, if I do that, and I go to the modify, and I go to the crop, it doesn't actually take very much off of there, and I can put in a pattern fill. Now these are all individual letters, so I could change the fill for each one should I want to. Alright, I'm now going to take those and I'm going to group them. Alright, this one I'm going to have, oh, I don't know, a radial fill. Let's go for this. Oops, helps if I select it first. And there we are. Send it to the back, like so. And because I've got them actually grouped, if I select the entire lot and go to the Align tool and center it, it should actually center it, but that may not be what you want it to do because the center there is not necessarily where you want it. Okay, click off of that. It would be, I expect, if it was circular, but maybe, maybe not. Okay, so there we have our word, and then you can group that so you can move the whole thing around without it coming apart. So lots of things that you can do with the fonts, and with the replicate, going around in circles is quite good fun, and something you should experiment with. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.